Hi everyone, Budget Stark here. Thanks again for tuning in. Today's video, we're going to be checking out the Star Wars exhibition over at Times Square in Causeway Bay in Hong Kong. Now, I went there in October 2015. Times Square, for those who aren't aware, is a huge tourist area in Hong Kong, and they've set up this booth which consists of 1:1 scale, 1:6 scale, some impressive lightsabers on display, and it's become a little bit of a tourist attraction. I know most of you guys are overseas, so you won't get a chance to see this. So what I did was take some footage just to show you guys what actually is on display there. Now, those who are aware of previous exhibitions, just like the Age of Ultron exhibition, which was earlier in 2015, this is actually quite close to that place called Hysan Place. Previously, at the Age of Ultron exhibition, they had Hot Toys displays, some one-to-ones as well. So very similar position that we have here. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on Star Wars and maybe give an insight to why there's not actually that big of a following in Asia. Now, there is a small following in some of the Asian countries like Singapore, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong. But China is probably a very small aspect of the Star Wars community, and I mean quite small. Now, I'll explain a little bit more. Now, the biggest country in the world at the moment is China, with over 1.3 billion people. Now, the first 6 films were only actually shown in summer 2015. Yes, that's right, guys. 2015. About 35 years or so after the rest of the world actually saw those films. I'm sure there are a number of reasons for this. Maybe, and probably most likely, is due to the restriction of information in and out of China. For example, there's no Facebook in China. You can't get access to it. There's no YouTube in China because the government restricts freedom of speech and certain information can and cannot leave the country. On top of that, they don't want too many external influences and information seeping into China as well. Now, if you take a step back, a film series like Star Wars that depicts rebels, like heroes, who fight against the Empire is not probably a favourable message that the China government want 1 billion people to view and maybe encourage those type of actions. However, there are some Chinese who have travelled overseas to those other Asian countries, Hong Kong, for example, or even going to the UK, US, who obviously did see these films in the 80s and 90s and are aware of it. So there is a certain following, but nothing like UK or US that has a huge following. Now, obviously, Disney recognised that China is an extremely lucrative business opportunity due to the sheer number of people in China. So they had a huge marketing push recently in October where they had 500 stormtroopers, not quite life-size. They had them on the Great Wall of China, and I'll show you that towards the end. They passed out lightsabers for everyone to play with, and it was a huge push because they're trying to launch a Disneyland in China. They obviously have one in Hong Kong already. They've got a Disney store in China already, one of the biggest ones in the world. So Disney is definitely coming to China, and obviously the license that they have with Star Wars, they are definitely going to be improving that type of marketing over there. So you can see, as you've seen for the last few minutes now, these are all the 1:1 scale statues that they have on display in this exhibition. And then I'll move across to some of the other things that they have, including the lightsabers, which definitely very, very cool stuff. I actually quite like 1:1 scale movie replicas, and these are pretty cool. I particularly like the stand, how it's presented with that sort of chrome effect that's very sleek, very modern look about it. So that's something quite funky. I apologise for some of the reflections because this is actually an open area where you get shops, the neon signs, the lighting is less than ideal. A lot of reflection off the glass cases that are there, so I'm trying to find the best angle to show some of these items and displays from. But nonetheless, hopefully you can appreciate what you are seeing. I know most of you Star Wars fans are familiar with these and who makes them. The 1-to-1 scale I saw were made by Sideshow. They made several of those. Gentle Giants and a couple of other manufacturers as well. Hot Toys, I think you guys are familiar, do not make 1-to-1 scale. They generally make 1 1/4 scale and 1 1/6 scale at the moment. They may branch out to something else, but we shall see. They also make, the smaller lines like the Cosbaby range, which are not for the main collectors, much more of a general market for the general public. Now these, I believe, are busts. I think they look 1 1/6 scale, and I think they're Sideshow as well. But if I'm wrong on that, please feel free to comment below to correct me. So moving across to the other display cabinet, which has a big mixture of Sideshow displays and Hot Toys. You can see there the DX07, the new Obi-Wan that's been released, and also the Chewbacca and the Han Solo. Some of the Space Trooper, Shadow Trooper at the front, and the Stormtroopers. And some 1 1/5 scale statues as well, which are moving across to. This is the Boba Fett. They have a Darth Maul there as well. And that's what I mean about the lighting, is right open in the main walkway. So there's lots of people there. A lot of light bouncing off, so the reflection was quite tough to pick up the details of these particular figures. This Darth Vader I was quite impressed by. I've seen this at Secret Base on their main Star Wars display. Nice item. Paint app was awesome on that. And I believe that's the 1/4 scale Boba Fett's, with some mixed in with some other Sideshows. So just to the side of that, there's actually a photograph area, especially if you want to pick up a lightsaber. This is all built into the podium, so you can't move them as such, but it's a great backdrop to take a picture. A little bit of memorabilia there. So great job by the organisers at Times Square. And just to show you, those are the 500 Star Wars Stormtroopers on display for the marketing, stood there on the Great Wall of China. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and catch you all at the next video.